So, I'm not trying to be weird. I think people, hold on. Not so much light this side. It's okay. Let's see if that makes a difference. No, not much of a difference. Okay, hold on a second. I'll be right back. So welcome back, everybody. I'm not trying to be weird. I think it's important for people to understand. And I was just doing a video. on, I'm going to actually have this video ready later. Okay. So the reason why I'm getting a little flustered is because I think people do not understand that I'm living in the United States and the internet is a social media place, meaning not everybody is living in one country. We're living from all over the world. Let me see if I can move this over a little bit. Give me a moment to adjust. Sorry, I'm readjusting. Okay. Sorry. Me and my adjustments are not perfect. But I want to, keep people aware that I'm living in the United States. I don't live, and I've lived in 5 different countries. I haven't lived in the Middle East. I have not lived in South America. I've lived in Asia predominantly, and I've also lived in a little bit in the United States and some time in South Africa. So I'm coming from a perspective of a different perspective. And this month in the United States right now is LGBTQ celebrations. It might not happen in the rest of the world, but in America, it's known for representing and promoting people for rights and freedom and all that stuff. And I think it's important for people to understand that we're not just living in one country. Just because you come from one country doesn't mean to say the person next to you lives in, or the next person across the room, which happens to be the internet, necessarily comes from the same belief system as you. So I think it's important for people to be aware and cognizant and considerate about other people on social media. I think a lot of people are not understanding that. And the reason why we're doing this Generation X transition into change is because our generation, my generation, which is 1960 something up to 1980, was a time period where we did not have the internet, where we did not have social media, where we did not have something like YouTube. And this is all, even for me, it's all new for me as well. But I do know that there are complications with understanding how people perceive things and what their assumptions might be to a lifestyle, which is all like, a lot of the times we're not enjoying going outside and celebrating and doing the things that we would have done in the 80s. Like, we would spend more time outside and get some fresh air, and we'd be a little bit like tanner, and we'd be doing different things. It's different, I mean, I keep going back into the Gen X thing because the Generation X, our generation, we're proud to be a bunch of older people. I can now say I'm a little bit older. I'm an older person now who appreciates the small things in life, who doesn't stress out about the things that maybe the younger generation concerns about, like how popular you're going to be or how much money you have, all that kind of stuff. Like back, it didn't exist. We were all happier people for not worrying as much as we do now. It's a big problem now. The social media has created such a scene of anxiety because one person might not have what the other person has. Whereas, for instance, my channel, I'm teaching people how to build it from scratch. Like, I make like my own money. I don't make it on YouTube, but I make my own money on different platforms. And I had lots of jobs before, just in different countries. I didn't always work here in the United States. I lived, and later on around 5 o'clock, I have my Poshmark, which is my main focus, right? I have to focus on my Poshmark channel because I go live there as well. I was invited to a, where am I doing? Share club? No. I was invited to do a TikTok shop, but I'm still waiting for them to get back to me on one small adjustment. Until that happens, I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think, people are not they're not understanding that I'm not just here for entertainment. I'm also here as somebody who can help people learn something from another background. I mean, that's the whole point of learning stuff, is you're learning to understand people from different cultural backgrounds, which I think is important. I think it's an important thing. And I did it like horizontally because I found it's important to switch it around a little bit. You can see the background is a little bit different too. It doesn't always have to be cool with the lights. The lights are probably distracting anyway. So I'm just doing my Poshmark quickly. So it's just a brief talk. I just wanted to get on to explain that I don't think the internet should be a place where people are fighting over who believes in what, but rather how to understand one another, right? How each person is going to socialize with the other's understanding of certain things. My understanding to things is probably very different from the understanding to what you believe in. So, it's just how we are raised. This is in fact what my master's was on about. It was about dealing with or understanding the discrepancies of societal misinterpretations of individuals and cultural upbringings and how people are raised differently. We eat different food, we're raised differently, our cultural understanding is different. It's just different. And, for once, I'm hoping that the internet will open that door to a more understanding world, to allow people to learn something different from outside of the country one is living. So that's why I'm basically doing this for YouTube. I feel as if it's important to have that space to open up a discussion beyond just one perspective. Like, one perspective is not going to save the world. One perspective is only going to have another person understand just one perspective. But opening up the perspectives to a larger collection of understanding should open up the door for a bigger conversation. So I think it's important to bear in mind that diversity is how America works. We appreciate, and which is why I moved back here, is I felt comfortable as a female and confident, unlike the other countries I've lived in, which did not make me feel too confident about being a female. So this, being in the United States, opens up that barrier of communication and allowing me to have a voice and allowing other people to have a voice who are who stand their ground. We have rights here in the United States. Maybe not so much in other countries, maybe in some other countries, but in the United States we have rights. We have rights, and that is important to understand. And just because I'm half South African doesn't mean to say that I'm not more American. That just means that my mom happens to be South African. And that's basically the quick discussion. I'll have a better clip of a video shortly, but I do think that it's important for people to understand that we all come from a different perspective, a different lifestyle, a different belief system, different understanding, and by listening to each other will help the next person understand stuff, understand another perspective, to understand a bigger picture. Because you can't just say we're living on one world. It's almost like we're living on different planets on this one planet, right? Each country has their own belief structure. That's just all it is. And like I said, in the United States, this is LGBTQ National Pride Month. Okay, it might not be happening in the rest of the world, but in America, this is the discussion right now. So allow people to embrace themselves. It's important for people to understand that they should feel a certain way. And putting pressure on changing a person's perspective on how they feel is not the way world peace will happen. World peace will happen is when people start understanding not to divide, but to celebrate. And that's just, I'm doing a quick talk, a quick discussion. I think it's important to have this down because it is the topic of discussion right now. If you check on Google, Google has even stated that this is a big thing. So I am talking about national pride because this is the talk of the town right now, okay? And there are other things that happen within this month. Just like in February, there were like tons of things happening. In the same month, we were all getting a little confused what day was what and who to remember and how, what's where and how and why, and all of those things. So that's what it is. And I think, I'm going to alternate between the lives on the parallel versus vertical because I think this is a little bit more intimate versus the vertical, which is, this way. Where you can see it on the public page. So I think I'm going to alternate it. I don't think everybody has to see everything all the time. But I do think it's important for people to acknowledge that other people are not from the same country as you. And just because I wear this little bandana on my head does not mean to say that I'm Muslim or have the same belief system as somebody who would cover their I just happen to like black clothing because that's the color that I like. It's nothing more than that. That's just what it is. I enjoy the color black. Simple. Okay, and I just like my wrap. I like my little hair pieces. I used to wear these as a younger person, so that's how I do it now. And I sort of generally work on my own here. So that's basically it. Thank you again. I'll be back another day, and we will have a longer discussion about stuff, but today is just a quick day of this, and then I'm going to link the other video to this, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.